lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I listened to the audiobook for this, which is narrated by Michael Crouch. This book is a young adult contemporary LGBT romance. It is super cute, but it has realistic characters, and it doesn't get too sappy at any time. And I super in love with this book. Like, I get all the hype around it now. It's amazing. So the book starts off with Simon, and he is gay, but he hasn't told anybody. Well, he hasn't told anybody except his pen pal Blue, who doesn't know his true identity, and Simon doesn't know Blue's true identity either. Just that they're both two gay but not out guys at their school. And that's about all Simon knows. They start having these email conversations back and forth where they start talking about kind of deep things and experiences, especially things relating to feeling like an outcast or teenage experiences, but they never reveal anything that would be an identifying feature. So they don't talk about what teachers they have, who their friends are, where they eat lunch, or anything like that, anything where they might actually be able to pick each other out of a crowd in case they do know each other. So they have this relationship that is solely built on emails, and it's super cute and adorable because they're learning about each other kind of from the inside, what they think and feel first, rather than exterior qualities like whether or not they're super hot. And I love these kind of relationships where you get to know somebody more personally first, rather than I've got a crush on that guy because he is way hot and I can't think about anything. Like there's still hormones involved, but it's less lustful, I guess, and more romantic. So I super adored Simon and Blue's relationship. It is my favorite part of this entire book. And throughout the book, Simon does try to figure out who Blue is, and we are also trying to guess, along with Simon, who Blue is. However, Simon's emails to Blue aren't kept secret for very long. Simon checks them at school one day when he's like super can't wait to see if Blue emailed him back and forgets to log out of the computer. And one of the other kids in his class, Martin, sees them and decides he's going to use it as blackmail against Simon. So Martin has a crush on one of Simon's best friends, Abby, who is kind of adorable and sweet and perfect, and I get it, I love Abby, but Martin's crush is a little bit creepy, and he asks Simon to set them up to help him win Abby's heart. And it wouldn't be too bad except for the fact the entire time he is pushing Simon to do this by blackmailing him and threatening to tell the entire school that he's gay and expose these emails he's been having with Blue that are incredibly personal. So Martin's a pretty creepy character, and I don't particularly like him. And I just never really liked Martin. Never really could get on board with him as a character. There's also a problem with the fact that Martin and Simon are working on the same school play together, along with Abby. And so it's really awkward for Simon because he can't escape him. And unlike having, say, a class with somebody like that where you could just kind of try to blind them out and ignore them, they actually are on a team together where they have to work cooperatively. And so Simon can't just ignore Martin. And particularly when he's seeing Martin and Abby together, and Martin's always like, hey, can you help me out here? Can you get her to talk to me? So this part of the book is kind of creepy, but it also feels realistic. Like that's something that might actually happen in school. There are people out there who are jerks and don't always think that what they're doing is that bad. Like Martin just sees it like, I am obsessed with Abby and I need her, and isn't thinking about consequences about what it's actually doing to Simon. Also, I love the fact that Simon is in the school play, but he has one of those non-speaking parts. So he's not the lead. We get a drama production from the perspective of somebody who's not one of the leads in the play, who has the goofy side bit part, and he's coming up with hilarious ways to, because he's one of Fagin's boys and Oliver, so he's coming up with ridiculous ways to steal objects and hide them on him, and it is so funny and cute, and I love it. Actually, the main thing about Simon's character is that he is so honest and sweet and adorable, and sometimes he doesn't necessarily make great decisions. He's a teenage boy. He's still gonna make mistakes and do things that are a little bit ridiculous. but on the whole, his heart is in the right place, and he's has these fears that are pretty well founded, like being afraid to come out into school that's in the South. And there aren't a lot of other gay kids in his school, and the ones that are out aren't necessarily getting treated great. Like, you can still hear slurs being murmured behind their backs, and Simon doesn't want to be one of those guys. There's also this part about everybody knowing Simon and having him fit into these boxes. Like, Simon feels this pressure to continue being what everybody expects him to already be. So he's talking. So when it comes to tell his best friends that he's gay and tell his family, he's hesitant because he doesn't know what it's going to do to their relationship. Are they still going to be friends? Are his parents still going to support him and love him? Or are they going to kind of shut him out? Or are they going to be super... So the thing about Simon's family is that his parents are pretty liberal and open and honestly awesome, except his mom likes to celebrate every single thing obsessively. So like the first time he had a girlfriend in middle school, they were like super obsessed with it, and he's like, all we're doing is holding hands, and maybe not even holding hands in school, and we don't hang out outside of school. Like, this is so not issue. But his parents were like obsessed with who she is, and can we take you on dates, and do you guys need a ride? It's just it's like overwhelming to him. Or like when he drinks his first cup of coffee and his mom's like, oh my gosh, you're drinking coffee, and he's like, Mom, stop. If this is what she's like with something insignificant as coffee, what is she gonna be like about being gay? And then we've also got Simon's dad, who is making all these jokes, and they are awkward because they're jokes about gays, and Simon's like, I don't know how to tell you that, hey, your son is one of them. Like, they watch a reality TV show and his dad's making jokes about, oh, that guy is super gay. He's like flaming and everything. And Simon's like, please stop. Please stop. So Simon has issues with coming out because of his parents. He also doesn't want to suddenly change his friend group. So Simon has these two friends, Nick and Leah, and they have been best friends forever. And they kind of got these expectations of who he is. And he's afraid of changing on them like that. And then there's also Abby, who's the new girl who just moved to school that year. And they're getting closer and trying to figure out where Abby fits within that friend group, especially when Abby and Nick start showing signs that they like each other. But Leah obviously likes Nick also, and so the friend group gets awkward, but also kind of cute and fun. A huge theme in this book is questioning what is normal and what is default and why. Why is straight default? Why is white default? Why does everybody not have to come out? Like Simon repeatedly asked, like, why don't straight people have to come out also? And why is it such a big deal if somebody who is other, gay, bisexual, asexual, for them to come out, why is that such a big deal? Mostly I love this book because it's adorable. Simon and Blue's emails are so cute, especially as we get further into the book and they start being more comfortable with each other and they start flirting, and I love the flirting. I also love Simon slowly starting to fall in love with this guy that he's never met, and he realizes it's a little bit ridiculous. And there are guys in his school that, you know, are right there, and maybe they're blue and maybe they're not, but he feels weird about like getting close to them because he feels like he's kind of taken, but also he's not technically taken. And I just... Blue and Simon's relationship is my favorite part of this book. I adore it. I also love trying to figure out who Blue was along with Simon, and every time a guy came up, I'm like, is he blue? Does he fit the clues that we have at this point? And the further we got into the book and the more we knew about Blue, started eliminating some people, but it was perfect who Blue was, and I just love the two of them. That's my favorite part. So, for the most part, this is a light, cutesy romance, but also it deals with some really complicated things like bullying, homosexuality, homophobia, and really just what we consider normal. So, it had enough to balance it of being this adorable book that also deals with really deep stuff, and I super loved it. I listened to this audiobook within like a day, and it's amazing. Michael Crouch does a good job of narrating. There were a few points though where, because of the way that Simon talks, and the way that his voice sounds, in the audiobook, I wasn't sure if Simon had actually said something out loud. Like, he'll be having a conversation, and then there'll be this line, and I'm like, I think that was supposed to be an aside that Simon is saying to himself, but I'm not sure. He might actually have just said that out loud to somebody. So that's my one kind of small gripe with this audiobook. Also, Simon signs his emails off as Jacques, which is a French version of Jack. But for the longest time, I was trying to figure out what he was signing off, because sometimes it sounded like Jack, sometimes it sounded like Shock. I'm like, why is he signing off as Shock? What kind of name is that? Before I actually realized, I'm like, oh, it's French. It's Jacques. Got it. But for the most part, I really enjoyed the audiobook. Although I kind of want to own the physical book now. Like, I need to reread this, and I want to, like, go back through and see what, did I miss any clues about Blue, and also just relive it because it's amazing. All right, guys, if you've read this book, let me know what you thought of it. Did you also appreciate who Blue was, or was it kind of a letdown? And yeah, what other books should I be reading? So peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.